What is going on, guys? Welcome to Barrookie. In today's video I'm going to show you how to make this DIY power block stand for I think around 26 euros. So as you could see in a previous video, I bought these power blocks, which are adjustable dumbbells that are easy, they are compact, and they're super awesome. Now the thing is, I don't want them laying around on the floor and take up floor space, or I don't want to trip over them. So I want to have them out of the way. So a power block stand is a very nice thing to have. Now, if you're going to buy this, it will set you back 250 euros, which is obviously quite a lot. Now, that being said, I think it's good to have them off the ground because it's a lot more ergonomically to pick them up like this, rather than picking them up from the floor. This is bolted to my reverse hyper, so it's not going to go anywhere, but it's also not a freestanding option. So if you clicked on this just to have that, I'm going to have to disappoint you. But maybe you can just stick around and you can learn some things here or implement one of these tricks from my build into your own build. Maybe you have a power rack that you made yourself, or maybe you have some studs into the wall. And maybe you can just replicate what I did, but tailored to your own situation. DIY is all about finding a solution that works for you, and maybe we can share some ideas here in the comment section down below. Without further ado, let's start building. Oh, did I mention that I might be able to stand on this? Might be very strong. So, the first things that we need to do is we need to make something that is very strong, and because I wanted to have this on the side of the reverse hyper, this has to be very, very strong. I went again with pressure treated wood. I went with 9 by 9 centimeter poles here. I knew that the power block stand is around 72 centimeters tall, because that height obviously is there for a reason, so I wanted to replicate that. Now, using some basic geometry, I figured out the angle at which I had to cut these beams. Now, I tried to do this with a jigsaw, but the blade of the jigsaw is going to curve into one direction, and that ended up with not such a straight cut. So, luckily for me, I had my father-in-law who has a drop saw, and I was able to clean out the cuts with that. So, if you know anybody that has a drop saw or has good tools, try to borrow them from them. You don't always have to buy everything yourself. It is nice, obviously, if you have everything yourself and you can provide for yourself. But if you're using a drop saw like 2 times a year or once a year, I think it's better just to borrow it from someone and then just return the favor with something else. Now, my idea was to have these beams coming out of the reverse hyper and that nothing touches the floor. Then I still have some safe passage here to put on plates on my DIY cable pulley. Then I also wanted to have this beam here that is made out of 7 by 7 centimeter wood, also pressure treated, and I cut this one at a 85 centimeter long distance. The reason why I went with 85 is because if you buy all the expansions, the power blocks will come around at about 85 centimeters if you put 2 next to each other. Also, speaking of which, the way I have my power blocks here are in one straight line instead of having the 2 handles facing you, so you can just grab it like this. I did this one just to save some space, so you can go with it as you like, but I think this is looking very clean and I think it will be very usable as well. So I got this beam here, I got these diagonal beams there. I attached all of it with some metal L brackets. L brackets are very cheap. I think it's around 50 cents for one. So I put in 2 on each side, so it's very secure. Also down below I bought some metal plates and I just bended them so they follow the angle here, and I just drew in some screws and everything was good. I didn't use any wood glue here because you never know when you have to disassemble something or whenever you want to change anything up. So I kept everything with screws here, but I used plenty of screws, so that's cool. And then I had this board here. I got this from my dad. I asked him if he could find a 85 by 20 centimeter piece of plywood, so I can use that in order to have a tabletop and to put everything on there. And that is basically it. So I have on this beam these L brackets. I had to chisel out a groove so the plank could lay on flat here on this beam. That was the only fancy thing I had to do. And for the rest, it's just bolt everything down. I did use some screws from the top here because it's easier. It doesn't look super pretty, but I've tried to make, like, if you're going to expose your screws, what you should do is make sure that's symmetrical. So make sure everything is nicely aligned, and then it's going to look a lot better. If you just do it randomly, then obviously your screws will look ugly. But I tried to align everything and I think it looks pretty okay. Then obviously there is this beam here that I attached as well, so 4 holes in them. The reason I did that was if you have your power blocks, there are some rods here in the middle. So if you're not using your rods, what you can easily do is put them in here. So the diameter that I used was 42 because I only have a drill bit, or a large drill bit of 42 millimeters. So that's what I used. Obviously it's a bit big, but I think it doesn't matter. So that's why I drilled it all the way through so that the rods have plenty of space to lay on top of. And then at the back, I just put in some metal plates to stop them from going all the way through. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It was a fun project. I had a lot of help from all kinds of people, so that makes it also very fun. And it just works. So I even tested this out by just standing on top of this, because when I have all the expansions, you never know when that is going to happen. I'm going to have here 2 times 41 kilos on top of this. So that means that this little thing here should be able to carry 80 kilograms. So if it's able to withstand my body weight, it should withstand these dumbbells. So that's why I tried to stand on top of it, and it worked. This thing looks pretty cool, and there are some flaws to it. I can see like this beam doesn't come all the way flush here, and this one does. But that doesn't really matter, as long as it's functionally there, as long as you had some fun building it. I think those are the main important factors. So now I have my dumbbells out of the way. I also have a place to put my loading pins on, which are nicely and available. And yeah, I think I'm going to leave you with this here. So please let me know in the comments down below what your solution was to get your power blocks off the ground. Did you just buy a table, or did you just use some blocks and made a homemade table? Let me know in the comments down below. This is my take on building a power block stand, and I hope you had some fun watching this video, and I hope you will have some fun making one for yourself. So thank you so much for watching. I guess I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Bye!